To better understand the reasons for the exodus of the Jews from ancient Egypt, we should first begin our story with the reign of Pharaoh Akhenaten. But since the pharaoh belonged to the 18th dynasty, it is worth getting acquainted with the pharaohs of this dynasty who ruled before him. So, let's begin. Pharaoh Ahmose, famous for driving the Hyksos out of Egypt, ascended the throne as a boy king at the age of 10. He ruled for 25 years. Ahmose was succeeded by his son Amenhotep I, whose reign was relatively uneventful. He ruled until 1504 BC. After the death of the childless Amenhotep I, there may have been some debate at court about who would succeed him. The deceased pharaoh probably had many half-brothers, cousins, and nephews of other male relatives, some of whom sought to take the Egyptian throne. Prince Thutmose managed to do this, having managed to prove that Amenhotep had named him his heir back in the 8th year of his reign. He ruled until 1492 BC. Thutmose II was the son of Pharaoh Thutmose I by his secondary wife Mutnofret. He was about 21 years old at the time of his father's death and was the eldest son at that time, since both of Thutmose III's eldest sons had died before their father. He immediately married his half-sister, the young princess Hatshepsut, who was then no more than 15 years old. This was done to strengthen Thutmose's rights to the throne, since Hatshepsut, born of Thutmose II by the great queen Ahmose Kent Temehu, was the first heir to the throne. If we were to believe the statements made by Hatshepsut later, this marriage was concluded against the will of the late monarch, who never appointed Thutmose his heir and would have preferred that his daughter reign alone. He reigned until 1479 BC. Hatshepsut ascended the throne in 1478. Her rise to power was remarkable, as it required her pedigree, education, and religious understanding. Her pedigree was impeccable, as she was the daughter, sister, and wife of a king. Her religious understanding allowed her to establish herself as the god's wife of Amun. She officially ruled jointly with Thutmose III, who ascended the throne at the age of about 2. After the death of Hatshepsut, there were no more direct descendants of Pharaoh Ahmose, either in the male or female line, and Thutmose III continued to rule alone without any obstacles. Fiercely persecuting the memory of his stepmother, he ordered all her statues to be destroyed and her name to be erased from the walls of temples. The political life of the country has changed dramatically. Relying primarily on the army and the new service nobility, Thutmose began active conquests. The young pharaoh was not only unusually warlike, but also a very strong warrior. He claimed that he shot through a target made of forged copper, 3 fingers thick, so that the arrow came out 3 palms from behind. Amenhotep II was the son and heir of Pharaoh Thutmose III and his wife Meritra Hatshepsut, daughter of Hatshepsut. Amenhotep was surrounded by 323 wives, who were the daughters of the Palestinian princes. Amenhotep II is the pharaoh who ruled during the arrival of Abraham and Sarah in Egypt. He ruled until 1397 BC. Thutmose IV was born to Amenhotep II and Tiai, but was not actually the crown prince or chosen successor to Amenhotep's throne. Some scholars suggest that Thutmose exiled his older brother to usurp power, and then commissioned the dream stele to justify his unexpected reign. He reigned until 1388 BC. Amenhotep III was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, the son of Thutmose IV and Queen Mutamuya. From the first year of his reign, and possibly from the moment of his accession to the throne, the young king's wife was Tiye. She did not directly belong to the royal family, although her mother Tuya is sometimes called a descendant of Queen Ahmose Nefertari. The pharaoh and his wife were the adoptive parents of the future Pharaoh Akhenaten. This is described in more detail in my book. He ruled until 1351 BC. Details in my book.